2019. This is the local planning agency meeting. Mary, is a quorum present, proper notice been given?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Before us, we have the approval of minutes from the April 18th, 2019 local planning agency meeting and the May 16th, 2019 local planning agency meeting. What's the will of this committee?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Roll call, please.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. LaHoop-Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. Aliberti?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye. Lori, considerations, please.
Good evening, Lori Barnes, Development Services Director. I'm presenting Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2019 CPLU 05 and 06 for property owned by M&A LLC and Charlie Johnson Builders. As you all know, the City Commission also sits as the LPA, so we conduct a brief presentation at the LPA meeting to consider consistency with the comprehensive plan only, and during the full City Commission meeting following, we'll have a presentation on annexation, future land use, and design district designations. These sites are located on the eastern boundary of the Eustis city limits on State Road 44, east of Estes Road. The northerly portion of the property is located on Lake Lincoln Lane, east of Estes Road as well. The site comprises about 63 acres. Again, the applicant and property owners are M&A LLC and Charlie Johnson Builders. The requested future land use designations on annexation into the city limits are mixed commercial residential for the 7 acres directly abutting State Road 44, and the remainder of the property is to be assigned a suburban residential future land use designation, which includes a maximum of 5 dwelling units per acre. The proposed designations are compatible with the surrounding area and consistent with the comprehensive plan, so staff recommends that the LPA transmits these future land use map amendments to the City Commission for consideration.
Thank you, Lori. Any questions of Lori at this time?
Lori, how do these land use designations for the city compare to the current land use designations under the county regulations?
The city designations are somewhat more intense than the county regulations. However, that is expected when you are transferring from an unincorporated area into a municipality.
Thank you. And Lori, before us tonight is just annexation. There's no development or anything like that for this at this time.
No, at this time, annexation and assignment of Eustis future land use and design district designations as is required. Once a property annexes, they need to have Eustis designations. If and when these properties are proposed for development, a preliminary subdivision plat request will be advertised and brought back before the City Commission.
Any other questions for Lori at this time?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have annexation before we know what they're going to do with it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Any other questions of Lori? Not seeing any. We're going to open it to the public, but if you do want to speak to this, if you will be brief, we will get more in depth with this during the City Commission meeting if this transforms on back to the Commission. That's something we'll vote on in just a minute, but I do want to open the floor if you'd like to speak right now to this, what you've just heard. Not seeing anything? Yes, sir.
This annexation is...
You need to come to the microphone, please, sir. Thank you. And if you would give your name, and if you're a resident of the city of Eustis, please.
I'm Donald Hardy. I live at 19500 Melody Lane. And this annexation is strictly for the ability of the city to supply water and sewer to these properties, isn't it? So they can develop it. Because they can't develop this property unless they're provided with water and sewer. So the only really reason to annex this property into the city is because the city will provide water and sewer to these properties. They can't be developed without that.
Lori,
Okay, somebody else.
I mean, one of the requirements we have to annex into, to obtain water and sewer is to annex into the city. So to
Okay.
answer your question, yes, if they want water and sewer services, they would be required to annex into the
Annex it.
city, just
So
like
that-
any other property.
Okay, so that's what this is about. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, if you'd come to the microphone, please.
My name is Lee Owen. I live at 35526 Estes Road, so we are outside the city limits of Eustis, but I've addressed this topic twice before at the Lake County Commission meetings. The Lake County, in terms of the compatibility with area properties, I would disagree on that. The surrounding properties are half acre and above. The properties to the east, which comprise 200 or more acres in a variety of parcels, are rural. So I don't see where the compatibility is in the immediate vicinities. If this gets approved, it sets a precedent. 200 or more acres to the east of this are going to just want to domino into this process. All the residential areas around there have one road in and out of the properties, in and out of the neighborhoods. This development would require 2 access points, one out of Lake Lincoln onto Estes. This was a hang-up at the county commission meeting for this developer.
Ma'am, to clarify, there is no development application. There is only an annexation petition to bring it into the corporate limits of the city and to assign it a land use classification.
Okay,
There is
so-
no specific application for a project.
So my points need to be brought up at the second meeting tonight or at a later time?
It could be brought up at some point when they bring a formal development
Mm-hmm.
to the city.
We have nothing in front of us showing any type of development at this time.
So you really do annex properties without a
Yes.
clue? Okay, all right, thanks.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Not seeing, yes, please come up to the microphone. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name's Fred Zezowitz. I live in outside the city limits, but on Melody Lane. And I just would like to point out, if you look at what you're trying to annex or what they propose to annex, it would turn part of where I live into a little island, which is still in the county. So I mean, you wouldn't have a contiguous system from the city. You'd have a little piece, like an island of annexed property. Maybe that's normal, I'm not sure. But it doesn't, we didn't buy in this area for this field. What we bought for was for the approximately half to 1 acre per property, and which is what's out there. And we recently moved, and this is kind of a shock. We moved from Osceola County, which has done this many times, and the traffic is a nightmare, and the roads can't support it. So please consider that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nybert, does this create any type of enclaves out there?
No,
Everything we're doing
the
is
annexation
continuous?
is legal under the statute.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Gonzalez, and I'm a resident of Estes Road, which is in the county. First of all, I do not think this property should be annexed. It is surrounded by agricultural properties, and we're in the Wekiva study area, which is very close to the Wekiva Protection Agency, or protection area. And it's going to create a nightmare with traffic. We all know what he wants to do. We've seen what he's given to the planner. We know that he wants to put around 344 houses, and you times that by 2 kids, you're going to have 739 extra kids in our area schools. I know for a fact that when there's too many kids, they go sit in the lunchroom until they can assign them. And I just do not think that's right. And this Charlie Johnson got denied by the planning board, so he's coming to you, and he wants to put all these houses and take away our agricultural and rural area. And like the previous speaker spoke, it's a domino effect. And you're going to be all the way to the Wekiva. This is our children, our grandchildren. We don't want to be known for rooftops. We want to know our beautiful area, our rural. We have animals, hay, cattle, chickens. We have bears that come in, which are wonderful to see at 2 o'clock in the morning. We want to keep that. That's why we moved out there. We love the area. We love Eustis. We love the city of Eustis. But leave our rural area alone. We beg you. We want it. That's why we moved there. We have people from Fort Lauderdale that are moving our area. Wait till they find out they're going to have about 344 or more houses in their backyard. I know around me there's some land that's in the county. They're selling the property. They're 5 acres. And I believe Mr. Johnson sold some property to these people and built a home. Aren't they surprised now that he wants to put all these houses? And it needs to say agriculture. Put a plant nursery there. Put country homes, 1 per 1 acre, 1 per 5 acres. People would buy up that land in a heartbeat. But they shouldn't do it in Eustis. We have too much natural resources around here. We want to keep it. It's beautiful. We don't want to be like Orlando, where we're not going to be a suburb. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You'll get this opportunity if this goes to the commission, okay?
Hi, I'm Amber Hardy. I live on 19500 Melody Lane, and I am bordering the side that's closest to Orange Avenue. And I'd like to go on with Kathy on the fact that the agricultural is what I moved to my home for. You know, there's absolutely nothing over on that side, and we took the time to go and we drive our golf cart over there because, you know, we see coyote dens and we see bear tracks. And this morning my son and his dad and myself, we seen turkeys just roaming about in our front yard. If this is annexed and into the city and then you put a wall around it and you have, you know, you have all these houses, like 5 dwellings on 1 acre, and you have 340 some homes, that if that gets approved, then where are we going to see this? It's like she said, a domino effect. Who wants that? I didn't move to Eustis, which sounds like just, you know, someone, half the people don't even know how to say it right when you talk to them, or they see it, your address on the, when you're telling them where you live. And you know, we want to see nature. I mean, who doesn't want to see a bear that's endangered? People in Florida want to see nature. I don't want to see houses. I don't want to see a 2-story house built on the other side of a wall and peeking into my backyard. I mean, who wants to see that? Annex it, and then you're just going to throw everybody that wants nature out of their element.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. All right. Greg, do you want to talk now, or do you want to wait till the commission meeting? It's up to you. Come on up.
I'll be last.
My name is Rick Gonzalez. I live on Estes Road. I don't necessarily agree with everybody that spoke tonight. When you annex this and when you develop this, I just hope you push all the traffic out to the light and keep it off of Lake Lincoln Lane and use that possibly as just a emergency entrance and exit. So I don't know if you can make that part of your annexation demand or whatever. But
Thank you, Ray. Yes, ma'am. You need to come to the microphone, please. I'm sorry. That's okay, ma'am. Everything's being recorded, and it's going out over the internet, so sorry about that.
My name is Strovie LaRoe, and I was born in Eustis. And I live on Lake Lincoln Lane, which is a private road, but it grew from a trail through the cattle pastures. And what's wrong with agriculture? People think agriculture is not progress. But agriculture feeds us. It allows us to grow. And I'm concerned with there's a few areas of this annexation I think have not been explored adequately. And one is the access. So you mean to take the 63 acres and have everything exit onto Highway 44. You're going to have those people drive through the L&L, the one set, I apologize. Are you going to take them down Lake Lincoln Lane? That's a private road. We value our agriculture, we value our lifestyle. Don't change it. Don't make it like every other place you drive through. Let us be different. Let us be unique. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Greg?
Good evening. Greg Beliveau with LPG, representing the two property owners who have submitted their applications for this evening. I'd like to clarify some points that have been brought up. First, Lake County Planning staff recommended approval on both instances where these applications had come before the County Commission for the change to the 4 units per acre, and actually provided evidence that the area was a transitioning area and provide graphics to support that. In fact, the first time it went before the county, it was transmitted to the state as a comp plan amendment, and the state Department of Economic Opportunity commented back in a favorable manner and found it in compliance. So it actually went that far. And when it came back to the county, it was withdrawn because the county wanted to put a condition to force the Ludekes to have an access to 44 of which they could not control. And that's why they withdrew the application. And that was through the other property owner. They had no ability to condemn right away to provide another access. The other component I'd like to bring out, so basically they recognize, the county staff recognized that this was not an agrarian area, it was a transitioning area to suburban lifestyle. And that's why they supported it on the staff level. The other component I'd like to bring out is on the arguments of Estes Road and the traffic on Estes Road. We had a traffic consultant do a traffic analysis as required on both the application to the county and the applications to you. And in support of those applications, the traffic studies found that the impacts to Estes were minimal. We had a 3% impact to the level of service. Estes Road has an adopted level of service of D. And as a level of service of D, our impact was 3%. Right now, after our impacts to the road, there is 53% more capacity left after our project. 53% is remaining. In addition to that, the county, recognizing that there is issues on Estes Road, a project was approved, funded, and I understand as of today, the traffic signal is being constructed at Estes and 44. We also worked with Lake County Public Works to improve the intersection at Bates, Lincoln, and Estes, that when a developer does develop the Charlie Johnson property, that the improvements can be made within all the existing right-of-way. That is going to be a condition when a developer for this property brings it into you. The last point I'd like to make is that your code requirements require that when anybody develops on any property, they are required to have cross-access. So when someone develops the Carl Ludeke property, Charlie Johnson property, they have to provide access, connectivity to the Hart property. Or in case anybody in the audience wonders who the Hart property is, it's the old Pebble Creek property. So when the Charlie Johnson property is developed, there has to be a connection to that property. And when that property is developed, it has to provide access to the Charlie Johnson property. So when those properties bring forward to you those projects, that cross connection does have to occur. So there will be a connection from Estes to 44 when those two projects finally come forward at some future date. So they'll have their wish that there will be a connection from Charlie Johnson to 44 at some time when those projects come forward. So that's what I have to offer, that someday they'll have their wish. Charlie Johnson will have a development. They'll have improvements to 44 at some time. But again, the actual impacts to Estes Road for the Charlie Johnson property at full build-out is a 3% impact. That's proven. It's on a study. By the way, that study was agreed to by Lake County Public Works and the MPO, and they signed off on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I'm going to bring it back to the committee now. If this passes, we'll have a further conversation. during the commission meeting. If it fails, it's done, okay? What's the will of our committee? To transmit this to the commission or to go ahead and deny?
Mr. Chair, I would propose that we transmit this to the commission.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a first and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Roll call, please, Mary.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. LaHoop Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. Aliberti?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye. We're going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. We'll come back in 2 to 5 minutes with our regular city commission meeting.